Climate change is forcing many communities across the country to think about new ways of adapting. One town in Maryland has been hit especially hard. John Yang and a team of students from the University of Maryland Capital News Service visited Ellicott City to explore the town's future and produce this report for our weekly segment, The Leading Edge.
It's a town people love. Its streams and hills, its historic architecture and quaint shops. It's no surprise that Money magazine recently named Ellicott City, Maryland, one of America's best places to live. So attractive that in recent years its population has exploded. It was originally built as a mill town, channeling multiple waterways down to the flour mill, one of the first in the country. It has a history of flooding.
The thing about Ellicott City is about 250 years ago, it was designed to do exactly what's happened during these floods.
But the 21st century effects are very different. Outgoing Howard County Councilman John Weinstein represented the town for 4 years.
Every drop of water that falls in this watershed converges at this point and is constricted. It goes where it wants to go. Combination of climate change, upstream development, and just simply the way the town is built.
I have to say, I'd have my doubts if it were raining really hard if I'd want to come and shop in Ellicott City at that time.
For 20 years, Joan Eve Shea Cohen has had an antique business that she runs with some help from her friend Gary Weltner.
I worry that suddenly one day there will be no Ellicott City, Maryland.
Howard County 911.
Oh my God.
In 2016, a devastating flood destroyed the downtown business district.
Ma'am, what's going on?
The water is above the doors coming in the building. We need somebody to come in. We have no place to go. Oh my God.
What's going on?
There are cars flying down the street.
It was called a freak storm, a once-in-a-lifetime event. 3 people dead, most buildings in the lower town gutted. Joan Eve and other people of Main Street dipped into their life savings to rebuild. They would come back stronger than ever.
No doubts that I was going to come back.
She took what had been destroyed and made it sparkle. Then, this past Memorial Day weekend, Main Street learned that it had not been a once-in-a-lifetime storm after all.
I remember early in the day, it was beautiful. And sometime in the mid-afternoon, another shop owner came up and visited and said, the rain is starting and it's not looking good. So we, of course, kept an eye on the water and decided that this could become a very serious situation, but hopefully not a repeat of 2016. Suddenly about, I would say it was around 4:15, we noticed that the water that was coming over onto the sidewalk was now starting to come in the front door.
And Gary, if he hadn't been there, I don't know what I would have done. I don't think I would have made it.
So as the water started coming in, we moved a few things thinking that, this is going to pass, and it didn't. The water continued to come in. I tried the back door of the building, and it was deadbolted.
Then he went to the front door, and he could not open that door. The pressure of the water from the street was already rising, and he couldn't open the door. And when he did try to push it a little bit, then all this water started coming in, and then it was coming in.
At one point when I'm at the front of the shop, I noticed that there were 2 cars, very close together actually, floating down the street.
And Gary, he was amazing. He just focused. He focused on what we should do.
And suddenly, the back left corner of the building just exploded. When that moment arrives, the showcases that were at the back suddenly started falling over, almost domino-like.
It was like, oh my God, how are we going to get out of here? I mean, we couldn't get out the back door. And now all of a sudden, showcases are following me around in the water and toppling over. And I did not want to drown in my store.
As we are moving quickly to the front of the building, ready to get out, I looked back and I saw a very large all-glass showcase tumbling into Joan Eve's direction. So much was happening so quickly, and I knew that if I lost my focus, that we may lose our lives.
But Gary had the smarts. He took an antique candlestick telephone, which was made out of metal, and he broke the glass in the top of the door. And he just said, Joni, I want you to hold on to me as tight as you can. Do not let go.
Inside of the store, it was probably just above our knees, but outside, when we did step out into it, it was almost immediately up to the waist.
To get from Joan Eve's shop to a second-story porch right over there, Gary dragged himself along this railing with Joan Eve on his back.
Howard County 911.
Someone spotted them and called 911.
Yes, there are two people stuck on Tiber River. The water's almost above their head.
The water was up to our chins, and I thought, if we had waited 3 or 4 minutes more, we probably would not be sitting here today talking to you.
The town leaders had to do something. What they proposed was radical, tearing down 10 buildings here in the historic heart of this town, including Joan Eve's shop. That would widen the river channel and create an open space. They hoped that would reduce the severity of future floods by allowing the water to spread out. The cost? $50 million. The fate of Ellicott City is now in the hands of the incoming county council. Many have doubts about spending $50 million when there are demands for more schools, more roads, more housing. Some are horrified by the idea of destroying buildings in the heart of town. Former Councilman Weinstein understands the dilemma.
I think it's a valid concern. But then you have to weigh that with the practical aspects of, if we don't take this bold step, then what will be left of the town if another storm happens?
I just think that it is unfortunate that these buildings have become essentially the victim of overdevelopment.
If you have to have buildings removed for the safety of the people, why is there any other thought?
I think about the most recent event in Florida and what happened in North Carolina and what's happened in Puerto Rico and what has happened in Texas and the wildfires in California, and I can truly empathize with these people. So I think we need to take a very good look at how we build and the decisions that are made so we can guarantee a healthier earth for future generations.
These people are hardly alone in facing climate changes, but here the question is immediate. Do they have to destroy the heart of town in order to save its future? And can they come up with an answer before the next big rain? For the PBS NewsHour, I'm John Yang in Ellicott City, Maryland.